Hello, I am JB Bryan, the President and Chief Investment Officer of JB Bryan Financial Group, the home of AfroEconomics. And JB Bryan Financial Group is a registered investment advisory firm. hmm Dating back to 1995 because of you. Many of you who are with me right now have known me since day one, like Miss Scranage and Dr. Williams. I really appreciate all of the consistent support, like from Mr. Bowie. It makes a difference. Like Mr. Smith, I see you out there, Mr. Smith. You know, even Mr. Smith is enjoying his retirement, but I thank you for just allowing a Black owned investment firm. And a lot of y'all met me when I was in my 20s. And that takes a lot of belief. And now, me, hey, in my late 20s, years later, and you're still here with me. And I appreciate that. So I don't think I could tell you thank you enough. Thank you. And I want us to talk briefly about, we're in a political season now. We're in a political season, and you see politics. You see ministers becoming politicians. You see business people becoming politicians. You see politicians becoming business people. But as we go into this election season, I want y'all to tell me, I could see you could do to all attendees, thank you for those of you who have logged into the webinar side and the events. Thank you. Tell me, should a politician become a multimillionaire? No matter how much you like them, should the career in politics, be like that? It leads to you become like one of the richest people. You become one of the 1%ers. No, because a lot of times in politics, they're talking about how these people in the top 1% of income, how horrible these people are. Like, I don't have to say that because I'm trying to make all of y'all very wealthy. I'm trying to take you from wherever you are, even if you're at the bottom. I'm trying to get you to the top. I'm going around trying to make sure that we move from minimum wage requirement in this country to a livable wage in this country. So you don't have politicians saying that corporations should be giving livable wages. And maybe it's because corporations own them. Maybe they're robots. So, let's think about it. Like, we have somebody in the White House right now. When he went in, he was so rich. He said, I don't even want a paycheck. I don't need a paycheck. So he's been working for free for almost like 4 years. But what if you get a paycheck, and at the end, you make a whole lot of money. You come in there and you just like us, like, come on, y'all. Like, is that cool? Like, because our current president, he might come out of there. He was already rich and become like Bezos rich, like head of Amazon rich. Like, and people get mad at the head of Amazon because he's, whatever, like huge billionaire from his own work. He didn't get no government loan to start that. His family took their life savings and invested in him. He took huge risk, right? Right? Oh, somebody say he ain't working for free. Well, he ain't getting no W-2. Let's put it like that. If you talk about the person in the White House, like he's like, says, that's what he said. We're going to find out if he's taking that money. He said he won't go. He said he wasn't going to take. What if he is? Wouldn't that be something? But we're just going to assume that that they're not paying him according to what they said, that he asked them not to pay him. So you never know. Probably get, some sort of expense. He gets an airplane, gets a whole, politicians get a whole lot of stuff that we don't get where we're working. Dr. Williams said today's politicians see their role to steer the taxpayer money to their constituents instead of looking out for the larger population. They see, Yeah, they're looking for whoever they think that they represent, huh? So so less I just want to share with y'all, because we're talking about tonight, and then sometimes when I'm sitting here and I'm like talking to you and I'm telling you health insurance costs are going to go up, and then, at some point, um, the government's going to tell you how much COVID has cost the healthcare system, and that the premiums are going to be so much higher and things like that, and this is to, you all know how hard we work. But a lot of these people that we're talking to, that like are that they're representing us, like they're actually going on, like, they're making money regardless, like, they're taking a break, they're getting paid like the Congress, and they're getting all of these benefits, and um then they're trying to decide, they're getting their same salary, but yet they're told people's employers to close down, and people lost jobs, and then they can't decide on sending people their unemployment benefits, even though you've created a government mandate and destroyed companies, employers, for these people. But you don't think that you should cover them, but you do think that you should get covered, you should get paid. Interesting. And then we still, are supposed to be excited about going out to vote. It's interesting. So then I thought about, and I don't even know how, like, all of a sudden this came. I just said, like, some all of a sudden some article. Oh, I was watching this sister who really is into the American descendants of slaves. Um, Yvette Carnell. I think, I don't want to say her name wrong, but you can look at ADOS, hashtag ADOS, and that website is ADOS 101.com. And she was dropping science about some of the statements that she was seeing. And then she was saying, like, how can you say that you represent us when you can't relate to my financial problem? And then I said, you know what? I sit there and I keep telling you all how we're going to be wealthy, and how all of this effort is going to pay off. And every day I, try to hype myself up. And then at the same time, I have to look and I see people robbing us every day, taking money from hardworking people, and they're just dropping it down a hole, talking to people who are not licensed, who are telling them about get rich quick things. And then I see, me, dealing with regulation and trying to do everything by the books and going by the guidelines, and restricted and limited because I'm licensed and by the law. And, how can I ever, because I'm not bullshitting in our discussions, ever get up to 200, 300, 500, a million subscribers that want to hear the truth? That I can't tell you, lie to you, and then I think I can compete with people who have no license and they can lie as much as they want, and politicians can lie as much as they want. Nobody is saying, you know what, look, you need to tell the truth. Or you're sitting there talking about how you can relate to these people, but you can't. And I remember one time how I got attacked. I was blown. I was when I was like, that is amazing when we look at the Obama's outfit, and it was like near the end, and they had this beautiful clothes on. And I said, the approximate value of their outfit is $40,000. And the average household, Black family household of four is much less than $40,000, the average. And people went crazy. And I said, oh, no, I can't believe, I really didn't expect, everyone to be so upset about hearing the truth. But the truth is that it is mighty darn hard to come out ahead in this world doing the right thing. And I know that that has to be why I focus on God so much, because that is what will keep you grounded. Because if we look at things, then we can easily become very confused on what is right and what is wrong. Like, look at this. This is an article that came out this year, and it was talking about um, that our Obamas that I know I can admit I voted for them twice. I voted for President Obama twice. And that and this is about the net worth of the former US president and how much they're worth. Like, and so it's, to me, it's like, if we're in a position, now that's the challenge of being a Black icon, because I can do something stupid, nobody really cares. But everything that this couple does, everything that they do, we see as perfection, what all of us should do, what we should model after, where we want to be. Because that's the way that, I mean, you're talking about this, oh, president. Barack, one time I called him Obama, and this lady went on my Facebook page and she said, refer to him. And this is now like, you refer to him as President Obama. Like, I could say Christ and nobody would come and say, you should say Jesus Christ. Like, but, but when they say Obama, like that, yeah, that's the word. He is an icon, like even more than that. Like, you're talking about somebody that our community worships more than the white Jesus picture. You might not have a picture of the white Jesus in your house anymore, but now we've replaced it with the Obama picture. Now y'all gonna give me an amen on that. He has become, and but the good thing is at least his skin is Black. He's not a descendant of a slave. No, he's not. But he is Black, and his wife is a descendant of a slave. So, and as am I. But it says, like, since leaving the White House, they have been working and playing hard. They have multiple philanthropic projects, like, meaning they give, for their charity things. And they have a luxury tour of Europe, and they stop off to see the Clooneys. I guess that's the movie star George Clooney, and then then it says before the new year, this is a 2020 article, they purchased a luxurious home at Martha's Vineyard worth $12 million. The couple signed a lucrative deal with Netflix to produce TV shows, and they created a documentary, American Factory. And then it says down, I know in here, it says like that they're worth at least $40 million. Michelle also brings in more money with the release of a companion journal with her book, Becoming. She did the book, then she got the journal that goes with the book. It was released late last year. And then in the start of this year, 2020, she announced that she's going to start an IGTV series that will follow 4 first-year college students in an effort to help young people navigate their path through college. And then the Netflix deals to luxurious homes. It says the Obamas' net worth is $40 million. And that means assets minus liabilities, leaving $40 million. And that's as of 2018. That's before a lot of these. According to Forbes, they earned $20.5 million between 2005 and 2016. 20 million. I think that's during White House time. A large chunk of that came from 2 highly lucrative book deals, The Audacity of Hope and Dreams of My Father. Where does the money come from? The Obama's money comes from their time as president, his Netflix deal, book deals, his speaking gigs, and his annual pension. He still gets a pension. It's here's the pension, $205,000 for the rest of his life. That started back in 1958. He earned $400,000 a year as president. He earned in the past, he was a state senator and was teaching at the Chicago School of Law. Most recently, he inked a lucrative Netflix deal. And then, like, I mean, why do you think that this story, as why they released this? According to Variety, it's unknown exactly how much the Netflix deal is worth. But the book deal paid them $65 million. And then he previously inked $1.9 million advance in 2005. They're pointing this out because I think that they're saying that while he was in the White House, that he got this money. And that doesn't include royalties. Forbes claims that he made $8.8 million for that book. He earned $847 advance for the dreams of his father. He also estimated to make up to $400,000 for speaking engagements. Look at this. 2 speeches and a minimum of $1.2 million for 3 talks on Wall Street. Wow. How much do US presidents make while in office? They go back to the 400, and then they said that they spend a lot of money on, their children, educating them. You get a president's allowance of $550,000 a year to take care of official duties. This is in addition to that $400,000. For some reason, the president doesn't need, if for some reason he doesn't need his allowance, the money goes right back to the Treasury. So that's what I guess that the Trump administration is saying. They just put it back. The president is also given a $100K non-taxable travel account, $19,000 for entertainment, and $100,000 to redecorate the White House. And then, just say, the Obamas famously decorated the White House on their own dime. What does Barack Obama spend his money on? Well, he spends it on his children. They go to these private schools, it says. Sasha enrolled at the public state college, University of Michigan, in the fall for college, which for out of state is $50,000 a year. Her older sister, a junior at Harvard, that's $50,000 a year. And then, with all the money they have, like $100,000 a year for college, I think they can handle it. The family loves to take vacations. They rented a $62,000 a week home in Provence. While in Europe, they made a stop in Italy at Lake Como. The trip, wow, look at how much people try to keep on you, like information they get on public figures. In 2016, after leaving the White House, Michelle snapped up a $8.1 million home in Washington, D.C. In November 2016, that's in 2016, it was reported that the family bought a house also in California, where Barack was spotted on the golf course. And it reported that Michelle was at the same time renting a $23 million pad in Hollywood. And then Obama's purchased an estate in Martha's Vineyard for $11.7 million just before, in the end of 2019. And then, so they gave $65,000, about $64,000 and spread it across 30 charities. And the money that he received for the Nobel Peace Prize, the $1.4 million, was donated to charities. And then I personally don't think that they give a lot to charity if it's $65,000 a year that they're doing now when they're making a lot more money. That's they're calling them that they give a lot, but I've seen a lot of people with a lot less money give a lot more than $65,000. I'm talking about like people who, like, if there's no such thing as just a millionaire, they have all this information and cannot get the taxes from dump. That's what Pam said. And exactly. I know they have all of this, but they can't get his tax information because you're not supposed to get anybody's tax information. But all of this other stuff is public information. Like, and every time you buy something, it has to be reported. So they even have on them, which I thought was interesting, that on the house that they purchased in DC, that they purchased from someone in the administration way below them, is actually, I'm gonna show you that article. They try to, like, for some reason, try to make it like justifiable that they bought this property up and it was not worth what they bought it for. But this here is the house in DC, and this says they bought this from this person, Lockhart, and okay, they say that they plan to remain in DC for a couple of years. So they purchased this $8.1 million house in DC, but yet, like, the kids actually left and went to out of state colleges. So the this house, the articles reveal, I'm gonna show you another. I'm not even showing you that article. I'm gonna show you another one. The value, the Washington Post article shows that the value of the house was actually $2 million. It's $2 million less than what they paid for the house. And they bought theirs for $8 million. They're in the same neighborhood as Jeff Bezos. He bought his house for $23 million. The only next house in the neighborhood selling anything close to the $23 million house that the president of Amazon got was the Obamas, who bought theirs overpriced. Then later, a couple of years later, they buy this in Martha's Vineyard. And they buy this house in Martha's Vineyard. And I'm gonna show you this article. Now, if that sister that had, that's why I wish I knew Miss Carnell, that was like making the point and saying that, they're making so much money and they're buying these things and they can't relate to the average person. The real point is they're buying things, but they're not buying them wisely, and they're paying too much for things, and that's not wise. And that's the problem. But if you think about it, how many times do we, as descendants of slaves, American descendants of slaves, how many times do we buy things and we have to buy it for more than it's actually, worth? And like this particular property that they bought, it's beautiful. Look, you can see, if you can see the ocean or the lake or whatever that is, the Martha's Vineyard. Never been there. I know some of you have. That this guy, I think it was the Boston Celtics coach, he built it. Boston Celtics lead owner, the owner, not the coach, the owner, and his wife. They listed it for $22 million in 2015. Then they cut the price down to $16 million in 2018. And then in July, they cut the price down to $14 million. They paid only $3.1 million. And then they sold it to the Obamas. They were like, woo, we finally got somebody that'll buy this thing for that 11.75 million. And then down in here, I thought was interesting. They also, because they could find it, they found that it was actually financed by JP Morgan. They even know, like, how they look at it right here. They took out a $7.05 million mortgage from JP Morgan to purchase the property and a trust. And the trust is run by this person, James Reynolds. So it gets complicated. But if we're buying things, wouldn't it be interesting if they were buying things that were giving them more diversification? They're buying a whole bunch of real estate. And ultimately, we're only talking about 2 people and 2 children. And we're talking about residential real estate. We're not talking about commercial properties. We're talking about Martha's Vineyard, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and California. You know, how many how many overpriced things can you purchase? Right? And Ms. Grandy said, you find it interesting that they put all of the Obama. Oh my goodness. That's a nice one. That's an article by people that actually like them. They were like, I'm sure that somewhere there's an article out there that will bring out the truth of it. Like that, don't we need somebody like if that's a rapper, what they could make a rap video off what they're doing after they left the White House. Like you know, but if a rapper does that and they have pictures of them at Martha's Vineyard or them by the pool and them out there, you know, them in France and Paris and this and that, like we would be like, oh, but if we have these intelligent people who are obviously, like I would argue that Jeff Bezos does not have that many properties in the United States of America. Like he is focused on what is Jeff Bezos doing? Like that's what we need to be focused on, obviously, because that is not what we need to be focused on, taking out mortgages from finance companies and buying properties that are going to sit there the majority of time empty with 29 acres and 7 bedrooms and this, you know, empty. That is the challenge that I have to take care of us, to let us know that could eat away at our legacy. Practices like that. I hope y'all feel me on this. What if they were working on something actually literally that could carry on a legacy? Like, I mean, Bezos is like trying to build like, you know, spaceships and how to do solar power, how to you know, major moves, like anything that they could do, like develop a think tank. But they become like these marketing magnets for Netflix to help Netflix. Like, but I wonder how much of Netflix do they own? They can take all that and put that into Netflix. That will move you from just $40 million, but that possibly your daughters could be billionaires too. But it's highly unlikely that this residential real estate will bring your daughters from just being a neighbor of Bezos with a mortgage, you know, and being on the level with Bezos' kids. Because financially, that's because they're just first generation, like most of us. It's first generation. As I quoted on my Facebook page the other day, Denzel Washington said, your brand is being good. Your brand is not being known. They're turning their brand into being known, but they need to turn their brand into being good. What do you want your legacy to be? If you want it to be education, build a school. If you want your legacy to be technology, make some technology. If you want your legacy to be, you know, political science and understanding how there's, then build a school that focuses on that. Build something that will last for generations to come. I mean, we've got to do that. We got to do that. But having this so that these loan companies can, you know, and then praying that this empty residential property that they'll be, what's your market on that? What's your market on that? You already see this man said he started it at 22 million, then he brought it down to 15, then he brought it down to 12, then he sold it to you. So you already know the market on that is slimming. You represent a group of people who are saying that those mega rich people are the problem. But you're buying and creating that same, I mean, so who's going to buy your properties from you? How is it going to increase in value if you don't indirectly support that part of society? So don't say it anymore. Don't say that you don't support the one percenters when you're in it and you're not doing anything to change anything else for anybody else on the bottom. What about doing that changes anything for anyone else? No matter what fraction you write off on your taxes and act like it's philanthropic, you know, what are you doing? So let's talk about health. Let's talk about health insurance. Let's talk about health. I'm gonna do this on CBS and next week, so we're doing this first. But I think that this is a valid concern, that there is a retirement cost gap. A retirement cost gap. A retirement cost gap. Can you tell me what that is? I'm coming after you, Ms. Hayes. It's a retirement cost gap. She's like, I'm still, you still trying to catch your breath.
I am that.
I'm gonna try. I don't know. Can y'all hear? I know I can hear you in my system. I might have to change out my app so that it will play out. I didn't even think about that. I said when I hear you, and I love hearing you in my headset, but it stops. Generally, it stops everybody else from being able to hear you out. So here we go. I'm gonna switch it over.
Okay.
Oh, great. I know they hear you now.
Oh,
I know you said wow. I'm like, wow. And then wow. But I just, So, but what do you think for us average folk who are trying to, leave a legacy the best we can, a retirement cost gap? What do you think it is?
oh, definitely the health.
That health insurance creates it. It creates it. And it creates it because there's like 30% of the people, according to research, they're saying that 30% of the people who start taking their Social Security at 62 is because of what?
They need the money.
Yep. To take care of what?
Yeah, anything, probably.
Yeah, that's right. But it's really because of the health insurance.
Yes.
Because you have to wait until what age for if your company does not have pre-65 health care, then what? You have to wait until 65 for the Medicare to pop in. And then for some companies, and I'm not talking about, I'm hard pressed to find a company that pays for health care before 65 now. And they don't even pay for it afterwards, but they'll have it available for you. And then, but it will be, I have some people paying as much as $900 a month for their pre-65 healthcare coverage through their previous employer. And that's part of their retirement plan. Isn't that amazing?
I'd take my chances.
Yeah.
I'd gamble with that.
Yeah.
I'll just try to be as healthy as possible.
I know, right? Exactly. I was like, walk into the hospital. I don't know what else to tell you. Exactly. But I'm not paying that. I know. Isn't it the truth? Exactly. And look, but they say that is the reason that a lot of the healthcare expenses are going to be even higher in 2021, because a lot of people, when you talk about taking chances, don't want to go to the hospital now. So what happens is their illnesses are getting worse. Y'all feel me? They're getting worse because they don't want to go into the hospital. They don't want to be, exposed to that chance. Like, they're like, I'm not taking that chance. It's amazing.
So you
So,
either die from trying to work to pay for this, or you
mm,
die from the illness.
yes. Yeah, yeah. And then you have that extra one of people losing their coverage because they've lost their job. And that has happened to a lot of people. Now,
Mm.
an interesting thing to think about, and I said I'm going to make sure, because a lot of people retire and they don't talk to me during the process. So what happens is if you retire and you start, say you're 65 even, and you start getting Medicare halfway in that year, they determine your Medicare premium is based on what? Does anybody know? Because we got to get a good understanding of Medicare. I don't care how young you are. I'm a long way from Medicare, thank goodness. But we have to understand it. We have to understand it. Like this, they base your Medicare on what?
Your income.
Thank you. Yes, indeed. So your income of the last time they looked at it, right? So they're looking at the previous year. And here you are retiring, and that income doesn't matter anymore. How many people know that we can talk to them about that? We can address that. Hey, look, I retired. I ain't got that income no more. But what people do is they do for a whole year pay the Medicare based on that, not realizing that we can contest it. We can contest it. That's not my income anymore. My income is this. Just like if you lose a job and you go into healthcare.gov and they go, what are you going to make going forward? You're like, well, zero, because I lost my job, right?
Mhm.
Well, that's the thing. Medicare can't be based on the job you had. It has to be based on what is your money, your income going to be going forward. But a lot of people don't realize, they think Medicare is one price. It's not. You're going to get it. You got a nice pension, some nice social security coming in, you're going to pay more than other people.
I did not know that.
Yep. And that's something
Mm.
that's why we're having this talk. You got to have some money. You have to have some money to retire. And if you don't have any money, then how do you conquer that? How do we conquer it if we don't have any money? You become a politician. I'm just joking. No. You run for office. And you can win. And if you don't feel like running for office, then what do? We have to cut our expenses.
Yeah.
You gotta cut your expenses as much as possible. Like I like some key things. I was like, what? So what do we need to do? We got the health insurance, the retirement cost gap that has created a lot of havoc for people during their retirement or planning for their retirement, because you're sitting there returning for your retirement, you planning, and you're like, all I need is $5,000 a month, right? And then you find out, whoa, my insurance premium is $900. And you've got a car and you've got a mortgage and you've got all that, it's like, shoot, you got to go back to Walmart, right? So we have to save more. I believe that we need to be trying to save at least 20% of your income while you're working. And then where do you save it? What do you put it into? Why don't people take it seriously, their allocation at work? Why do you think that just because you're putting money away? I have seen studies that show that women save more than men, but because of their not understanding the investment options, they don't get the return. So the men still most men end up with more money at retirement age, even though the women saved more. So you can save 20% at 1% return. And somebody might save 15%, but they're getting a much better return because they allowed me to help them with the allocation, of course. And then look, and then what it does make a difference how the money is invested. So you don't have to have so much pressure. You can save it, save it, save it, be all excited about it, and you're getting negative 3% return, because you're not even outpacing inflation, over the last 20 years, and you don't even realize what you did. And then it would just have taken a little bit of your time, and boom, we could have gotten that accomplished. So we need to increase your returns on your money. You need to look at your fixed expenses and then look at your extra expenses. I mean, come on, y'all. Whose mic is open? I know y'all mad at me. I know, for telling the truth. But y'all know that some of that stuff that I was talking about our friends that we voted for is a little extra. Tell the truth. It's a little extra. Even for Gennie Jones, it's extra. She be like, look, all I need is two. East Coast, West Coast, right, Gennie?
You're right. Right.
Next thing is gonna be a jet. He gonna be playing James Bond in a movie. This will be Jet. You never know. That would be funny though, because we'd be running out to that movie. I'm telling you, Obama is James Bond. We'd be running. I'll be first. I was like, go. Exactly. The real superhero. He'd be like, look, then he's gonna buy the entire United States. But we got to get rid of the extra. For most of us, we have to get rid of the extra before the extra is our demise. Because the extra will tear you up. My boy that, was telling you about, I don't know if you all, but Robert Smith, who I look up to a lot. I don't know if y'all heard me when I did my Black Billionaires. He's one of my most admired. And now the IRS is after him for $200 million. It's going to take a whole bunch for Obama to ever get that kind of bill. But my brother, Robert is a billionaire. But $200 million IRS, criminal IRS charges they trying to get on him. And I know that he probably thinks like, some of that extra, I really didn't have to have. And as hard as it is, because I remember young in my career, you're making money and you think, I got to do something with this money. You know what I'm saying? You feel like the only thing you feel like you deserve is more stuff. That's the way society wants you to feel. But if we want to put that imprint, like I was telling a brother today, because he was talking about that he and another man wanted to write a book and they wanted to look for a publisher. And I said, man, just go ahead and self-publish like me. And I was like, I know we don't get like the 1.9 signing bonus like Obama got, but your message gets out there, and that it's still done and it's accomplished and you're not going around begging nobody. Just do it. And and it was worth the investment. I know I spent at least $30,000 on doing my books, but you can't take that back from me. And almost every day somebody buys the audio or buys the regular printed book, or I'm giving away somebody the ebook or something, but that is a blessing. And I don't have to worry about somebody other than like, if they go to Amazon and buy Amazon, take enough of your money, then look, if you let the publisher take more of your money, like they get it back. Like Money Mayweather would tell you, they don't get theirs. Those publishers probably like Don King.
JB.
Uh-huh.
JB, is that what Tyler Perry did? He started out selling his movies and stuff.
That's right. Right out the car. Right out the car. I know. You have to do it. You have to do it. I remember, like, when my daughter was born and I went through a divorce, I sold the house so that I could continue my business. I could have gone working for somebody. That was my house. That was my business. But I knew without having a spouse, I wasn't going to be able to work as hard. So in order for J.B. Bryan to be here, this business to be here 20 years later, after that, I had to sacrifice. So I had to sell my house, and me and my baby were sleeping on the floor in the office until I got the money to renovate it. Then I put a little apartment in my office building that I owned, and then when it was time to graduate from that, I sold that building and took that money, and was able to send her to private school and, moved. Then I said, you know what? I'm not wasting this money on this private school. I'm going to go out to the county, and this make my life a little bit easier. So then I didn't have, but you have to be in a situation where you can make the proper adjustments, because stuff is always going to happen in life. Always gonna happen. And if I had been deep, you know what I mean, deep into debt, you know what I mean, there's no way, because I can't have bad credit, and I can't file bankruptcy, and I can't. So when you physically have a major priority, you got to take care of your child, you've got to change things. There comes, because it was like, I know I want to raise my child, I want to be involved, and this is what I got to do. But yeah, so there's not one person, as I was telling a lady and during an interview earlier this week, she was like, oh, tell us about your struggle. I said, there's no reason to talk about my struggle, because I'm here. Just let me tell you, there's not somebody who's gone through something that I haven't gone through something similar. You know what I'm saying? So everybody, we're survivors. We're survivors. The point is, like, but you have to know that if you live above your means, you got to be willing to deal with the sacrifices. You're going to have to work a lot. You're going to have to compromise for your family. I've seen a lot of families fall apart because so-and-so is working over there and somebody's working over there. Who's going to be there? Who's going to be there? I would much rather have my home, or I have someone to come home to, than everybody chasing that dollar. But that's the value. Now, there's a whole bunch of people who get along great, and they all want to be making money constantly, and that's what they think everybody there is supposed to do. But that's not the way that I see it. I feel that if you can't have your family and you can't enjoy time together, then what's the use of living? Because when it all comes down to it, the stuff can't go with you. But that love that you feel when you take your last breath is priceless. It's priceless. Woo. And to feel that kind of love, that means you're going to have to make some sacrifices for somebody. Gone to. My movie. If they drop my movie, y'all gonna be crying too hard, mess up y'all makeup. But rest assured, it's a happy ending. Yes, we will win, indeed. But amen. That y'all, thank you. But so definitely, let's look at some more tips before y'all leave me. I want to look back because I was good. I'll be proud of me, and I actually and then I said, okay, increasing your returns on your investments so that you have more money during your retirement. Separate your fixed expenses from your extra expenses so you know what is real, because that extra is what you can get rid of. Like I was saying, like I didn't need to have the house and the big building that had the space that I could renovate so that I could be at work, my child could be with me, and I was able to put a nursery in my office building, and I lived upstairs. So, hey, get rid of the extra and it can make it work. But cut your expenses. And to plan early for your retirement, because if you start planning like, I don't want to work here but this long, then when you start, we're going to make adjustments to make that happen. I love it that AfroEconomics is the financial planning is giving me the opportunity to develop relationships because before I really structured this AfroEconomics financial planning, it was like having a funeral home, but kind of opposite. Like I would just meet people at the end, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not really the end, but it's the beginning. But you know what I'm saying? I like helping you get there. And then, but like some, clients that I've had, like they retired in their 40s, but gone are those days. Gone are those days. The average age now is like 60, 65, 70. But I'm telling you, at the beginning of my career, almost 30 years ago, people were retiring a lot earlier, especially Black people. Companies would give you benefits at 50, 48 for the rest of your life. Yes. And the
Nice pensions.
nice pensions for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And look, and when
Yes.
they would fill that position with somebody, they ain't have those type of benefits
Right.
anymore. Mm-mm. And I want you to be healthy. That 10th principle of AfroEconomics, know that you don't have to have those huge medical expenses just because you're getting older. You know, you can make a commitment now to having a healthier lifestyle, making healthy choices, you know, so that you can have a lot of healthy years. And then things happen over life, but there's a lot of things that are preventable, and that we can, so that we can work longer, take the Social Security later, and work a lot longer and feel better. And that's, I mean, I can't even really articulate, like, that's not financial advice really, but it really is. That's why the health and wealth is the 10th principle of AfroEconomics. You know, really enjoying keeping yourself healthy is the key to getting rid of that healthcare gap. That when you're going to the doctor so much and you're having to go into the hospital, and every time it's a $1,000 deductible. You know, I had one client, he got an infection, and he had to spend $2,000 for the pill, just for the antibiotic for the infection. I said, seriously? He said, yes, $2,000. And he had good health care. But so this is pre-COVID. So after COVID, these healthcare insurance companies are going to cover less and less. Like, see, it's going to be sneaky, and we got to be smart, because what they're going to do is cover less things, even if they keep the premium the same. All of a sudden, you'll see your deductible go from 1,000 to 5,000. You see me?
Mm.
So and so's not covered. This not covered. All that was covered last year. So the things that we get about the coverages next year, because the premiums are going to go up at least 5 to 10%. Keep seeing different numbers, you know, but this is going to, you know, it's going to increase it, because they have to cover the cost of all of these cases of COVID going into the hospital. I saw this one case, and it was saying this man was in the hospital 2 months with COVID, and it was $1 million in healthcare insurance expenses. $1 million, 2 months. That's a lot. So let's make sure that we have a plan as we approach it. Let's do a plan for retirement. Let's cut the expenses. Let's keep ourselves healthy. Let's realize that healthcare isn't expensive. You're going to retire before 65 when Medicare starts. That it, even if you don't start getting a check from Social Security, you can get on Medicare at 65. But if you want to retire before then, you have to plan for that expense. So in the financial planning portal, you know, that is factored in. When you say, I want to retire at 62, that algorithm and the software that I use is so smart that it adds that to your expenses for retirement automatically.
And when you turn 65, if you're not still working, and you have to get on Medicare. If not, they will penalize you.
That's right. You have a window to get in. But if you are still working and you don't want to get on Medicare because you want to stay on that, whenever you do quit, you have, and that is a that gives you an opening, that gives you an opportunity to get in. So you don't have to worry that I'm 66 and I never got in. It doesn't matter. You can get in at 67, 68, 70, 80. You know, you can always get in later, but you cannot. But if you don't have any healthcare coverage, then you want to get on it, you're going to be in trouble.
But that is something that you don't want to do, is to get in later, because the penalty would be so high.
Yes, Ms. Jones, see, you can get in later, but you just have to be on insurance.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
But if you don't have any insurance, that's the tricky part, is how it's articulated. So it makes a person think, well, I got to get off my work plan because I can't get in later. Yes, you can get in later, but you always have to have some sort of coverage. See, what they're penalizing you for is not having coverage, not for not getting in, but it's like you didn't have any coverage and we want to know all your business. You know what I'm saying? That's, see, because if you have coverage somewhere else, it's just as good as they were covering you, because they know exactly what you got. They know what meds, they know what you're doing. They just want to have that medical history. So if you don't, the penalty is for not letting them know what's going on. Isn't that something?
Yes. Crazy.
But but that is kind of sad. Like that's something worth, y'all might become a politician for. Why you gonna make them get it? They don't want to have it. Like the no, what is that all about? The maybe because why do you have to have it just because you're 65? Like, but a lot of that with the because you don't have to have the affordable healthcare now. You can, if you don't have the money and you can't afford it, or you don't can't afford it, you can now say, I don't want it and I can't afford it, and you don't get that penalty, because they were doing that for that also. But but that's worth checking into. But most people want it, I guess. But look, we should want it, but everything now is about how you gonna make me do something. The Eric, thank you for saying that out loud. Flossing is the end game, but living debt free is the end game. Yeah, flossing is not the end game. I know that's right. That's right, Eric. Debt free is the end game. Having the legacy is the end game. Isn't it true? Things would be so much easier if we just, lived within our means. We go around and make things so complicated, setting up these little things, these little trusts, and make sure everybody want a little bit of your money. Everybody want a little bit. And they come at you with these ideas. When you really get there, like I know in a lot of these deals, the financiers approach them. Have you been thinking about this property? You get there, they call, I bet Beyonce and Jay-Z, people call them trying to sell them stuff all day long. They go, you ain't even got to give us no money. Hey, we just sign this, just sign this. That's how Whitney Houston died broke. You just financing everything. You don't even know. Michael Jackson was basically broke. Like they're getting his money back together now, and it's probably just because less is being spent. But if you keep spending, you know what I'm saying, and you don't keep working on that same level, it's gonna have to stop. I'd much rather see people just take, instead of financing. It's better. Like I remember one time I was buying a luxury car and I had the money to buy the car, and I didn't buy the car. And I was like, why didn't I just buy the car? But it just looked too good to finance the car. So I financed the car. You know what I mean? But if I had to buy the car, I would have never bought the car, because there's no way I would have spent that much money on that car. So, but the fact that they were financing it makes it so much better. And that's how, when you do that with, real estate, when they finance it, you know what I mean? You go, well, it's only $6,000 over there and 10,000 over there and 20,000 over there. That's all. That's all. Just little payments. You know what? We got these deals going. It all gets done. You know what I'm saying? Blah, blah, blah. And then people are writing checks for you and everybody gets paid, and the next thing, that's the hard part. That's the hard part. Does it all get done? And how much does it take to keep all those balls up in the air? And where are they when things aren't the same? Those same people who you were helping and allowing them to finance it and everything, let stuff change. Some like, I don't know, some horrible scandal or something happened. They're nowhere to be seen. Oh, we're going to take that property from you. Oh, we're going to so-and-so. Oh, it looks like you might not pay. Be 1 hour late and see what happens. That's so true. who as which policy are you? Ms. Ramadan was saying like who is benefiting from the policy exactly. Tell me which policy you were referring to. Definitely. Do you carry insurance from previous job factor in with Medicare? I'm clueless about Medicare. Well, I did tell you that you need to learn, didn't I, Rosita? But you are young enough to not really have a good understanding. But wouldn't it be funny if she start every time me and Rosita meet? Now she's like seriously like basically a whole long, like a lifetime away from Medicare. But you know, it's like it would do to be funny. And she's like, you teach me more. But you know what? Of all of the health insurance out there, Medicare to me is the most complicated one out there. Do you? I mean, I don't know what y'all would not, but I bet Miss Perkins would agree. It's just complicated.
I agree, JB.
Right?
I look at my mom's policy
Yeah.
through Humana,
Mm.
and I just think it's so complicated,
Yeah.
and
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 it's probably, she probably has like an advantage plan. And Rosita, your parents probably do too. But, you know, when you get their information, don't hesitate to get it to me because I'm licensed and all of that. I just don't sell it, but I can totally advise you on it. You know, I help clients, you know, go through it and we'll look through the options. But the first time that I did that, I was like, why does it have to be so complicated? You know, and we have like an extra session. And I did that too, because I was really thinking about, oh, I'll sell it. So you have to do extra training. And I did the Medicare training and everything. And I was like, this is crazy. I was like,
Mhm.
it is so complicated. I was like,
For
that's
no
like,
good
no,
reason.
I'm gonna let them do it. So the what I'll do is like we'll go through it, like they'll come in, they'll give you the information, and then I'll kind of help you on which is the better option and kind of help you work through the different things. But it is those advantage plans get complicated also. And that's where like all of the coverages could be there together on those, you know, but you do need to be careful. But the good thing is if you spend the time, Ms. Hayes, like I know you would agree, like they can find out a lot of information, like if these drugs are covered, if that doctor
Right.
takes it and this and this and that. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot of info online. You said, yeah, Miss Grandy said the government always makes things complicated. It's so true. So
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know why they would do that though. You would think they would be the easiest ones. It's like on the new tax return, and they said this tax return can now be done on an index card. You know, and I really feel that tax returns are more complicated than they were before. I'm like, and they have the nerve to like add ins. But if you don't have anything extra to do and you're not itemizing and you're not doing the Schedule C, then it probably is easier. But for one who might be itemizing, you know, my basic member, like it's extra. They've made it extra now. Mm-mm-mm. So you're right, but it is, you know, definitely worth it for as or as like with Rosita was saying that even if she doesn't learn the Medicare and learn more about the healthcare expenses for herself, you know, knowing it for her parents, like Ms. Hayes said. So Rosita, you and Ethel will get together. and, then, and then y'all do classes and I'll just sit there and let y'all just go at it. That's right, daughters. Get your parents straight. The Oh no. Dr. Williams said that. I think, oh yes, you do. Yes, he said, I think I need to become a politician now. I know you were sitting back there being quiet. So he was probably researching it too. He was like, dang! He said, my boy is good. That's right. You gonna put, look, eight years, good 10 years, you know, $40 million. Hey, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's pretty darn good. And the Yeah, and it's worth look, and it's worth considering, Dr. Williams. Like, I think you'd be a good one. That means you probably wouldn't become like really, really, really wealthy because you'd be too focused on the people. They- They'd be like, "Oh, he's too good to be true. We don't trust him." They wouldn't vote for you. The, yes, what'd you say, Miss Galloway? Oh, especially Supreme Court judges too. I don't. I wonder what's up with them. I wonder how much like what they can do. I would think judges are like even more limited because they don't have a life after. They stay on there forever. But they don't work. I bet they don't work that much. Like they just like have wouldn't it be something if they had like maybe 10 cases a year? And they probably make like 300,000, and then they speak and they make another 300,000, like so they can do really well though once you're up to. Do they write a book and they make, and I mean, there's some of these books coming out with like the political information on them. I'm like, if I put out a book like that, they probably arrest me, and it'd be like that's national security. I'm amazed at the stuff out here now. mm. Medicaid, that's right, Andrea. Medicaid is for a medical for financially challenged, is based on your finances, and Medicare is based on age. That's right, it's part of your Social Security retirement benefit. Thank you all so much. If y'all have any additional questions, don't hesitate to email me, jb@jbbryan.com. I'm going to put it in here. I've never done this before. I'm going to put it in the chat so y'all can just copy and paste. You can go to any of the websites and click to chat. I think I've been doing better. Janaya has been a blessing, and I was keeping up with stuff. I'm trying. I'm trying. Indeed. Oh, all right. Well, you be well. You be well as well. Indeed. Thank you. Stay safe, everyone. Indeed. Thank you. I'm not going to say your name because I don't want to mess it up. But you stay safe as well. Thank you. How you doing, Miss Ponder? Miss Ramadan, I didn't get to finish off your response. We need to talk soon. How are the Richardsons from Hopewell, Virginia doing? Thank you so much for the meditation on Sunday, Miss Richardson. Again, thank you, thank you. How you doing, Larry? My favorite CPA. Look at that. How are you? How are you, audio? Somebody logged in as audio. Audio. Mr. Murphy. How are Mr. and Mrs. Murphy doing? The newlyweds. Oh, thank you, Andrea. You are excellent. Thank you, Miss Ponder. Thank you, Gennie Jones. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Miss Bullock. We need to talk, Miss Crystal. Talk to you soon, Deborah.
I know.
Thank you. That's right. Thank you, Eric. Mr. Smith, thank you. I will talk to you all Friday morning. Remember, there is a free membership available, financial empowerment at your fingertips. There's probably 1,000 things. We could talk forever, but I'm not going to try to make y'all. But the bottom line is we're going to get rid of that retirement cost gap by making some smart financial moves. Stay the course. Let's keep hanging together. Let's stay together. Indeed. Let's keep doing it. It's going to get better. Thank you.